welcome to this special green screen forecast. Your host, Ivan Kamau, and happy holidays for those watching. As yes, this year is turning out to be a warm Christmas instead of the white Christmas we wanted, but I'm looking beyond to see if this trend of above normal temperatures might continue or if winter is just holding its breath. So let's get started by looking at temperatures for our region on December 25th, 2025. And as you can see, parts of Missouri and Illinois, and again, really for a good portion of the country, because as you head south, these temperatures just get warmer, where we're going to be in the lower to mid 70s. Yeah, you're looking at that right. And Christmas is not supposed to be this warm. In fact, we might even get record highs. So it's not like this has never happened before. But when we talk about the potential of record high temperatures on December 25th, on Christmas, that means Santa might need to have some shorts on. Now, heading up to the north, that is where places like Minneapolis or even down to Chicago, it might feel a little bit more like Christmas. If you wanted to feel a little bit more like Christmas, you have to head up to the north, because areas down south are not going to feel that way. And even looking at temperature trends from the Climate Prediction Center, we see this trend, this really positive phase that I mentioned during my winter weather outlook, or explained what it is, that is taking place across a good portion of the country. And again, this means no snow, if there's any, for a lot of regions, because we're going to see this dominate not only over Missouri and Illinois, but Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. High confidence of above normal temperatures to continue through the rest of 2025. The only exception would be parts of the Northeast, where those areas might even be below average. But again, it's a small portion of the country. You don't normally see us get this warm, at least for the month of December. But looking back at previous years, remember 2024 or even December of 2023, we had a mild Christmas, and then getting into January, that is when things started to turn colder. I'll keep an eye on that this coming winter, but definitely winter is taking its breath. Even looking at that 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and this takes us even to the early portions of next year. Look, it really doesn't want to give up with this positive phase of warmer temperatures up to the north. I think we're going to have to be a little bit more patient if we want that colder air to come in. It'll eventually come in January, but we're going to have to be a little bit more patient even through the early portions of January before we do see any cold coming our way. But don't let this ruin your hopes, snow lovers. Even I don't like seeing this. Again, we're just going to have to be a little bit more patient. And to explain this, I want to go back to the graphic that I did talk about in my winter weather outlook. We are obviously talking about this positive phase and not a negative phase to start off the winter season, because that warmer air is dominating all of the United States, where the colder air is contained up to the north. And we'll have to be patient before we see more of a negative phase start to come in later in January, because that is where we'll start to see colder air impact parts of the U.S. But at the same time, even with that negative phase that I mentioned, we're going to have to keep an eye to see if a warmer surge of warmer air would move up to the north. And that would impact this colder air also that wants to come in. And so in the previous years, I've seen this happen where you get a warm or milder December, and then things start to turn more like this, a negative phase getting into January. The big question is exactly when we see this colder air coming in. I think this is winter taking its breath, but when you take your breath in, you know you got to let it out, right? So we're going to have to keep an eye to see if that negative phase does take hold. And of course, based on my winter weather outlook, that was what I was expecting for January, and it hasn't really changed so much. But that is something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on pretty closely. And so that was a quick sneak peek of what your Christmas forecast is looking like, and the warmer air that is going to be dominating a good portion of the U.S. Remember, I'm not going anywhere. Make sure you download Twitter or X to follow me. And of course, signing off from YouTube for 2025 before I see you again later in January of 2026, as I try to make improvements from what a wonderful year it's been for me, as I got a green screen, got a lot of nice upgrades. Definitely, it's been great with that, and I'm going to try to make those improvements heading into next year. So definitely make sure you follow me on my socials. I'm wishing you and your family a happy holidays, as well as a happy new year. As we know, this has been a year for us in the St. Louis region. Just going back to what we dealt with earlier this year, this is a photo of March 14th, 2025. I was going around my neighborhood, and if you remember me talking about this, I do have a recap on this. You can check it out a few videos ago back in March, where we had a strong tornado move through the parts of our region and uproot many trees and of course bring lots of damage to many regions. But of course, one thing that we will never forget is that May 16th tornado, and this was taken out of the western windows of the Gateway Arch on May 16th, where we saw that wedge mile-wide tornado move through. Yes, and of course that meant this year was all about rebuilding for many families and lives that are forever changed, and we can only hope that we will all come together and start 2026 even better than we did this year. And I know this has really shaken a lot of people. We even questioned what the future years might bring when it comes to severe weather, because we know this does not often happen. But just know you can trust on me, as well as many TV meteorologists, to keep you and your family informed and safe. And again, that all comes with this, again, reiterating that you want to follow me over on X. So when we see things like that start to ramp up, whether it's severe weather or winter weather, I will be there to keep you safe and walking into next year better than ever. But until then, thank you for everything that you have done for me. Thank you also for everything that you do for yourself. Wishing you again a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you in January.